Yay, it's live at Green Cow. Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day in Chicagoland, and I hope that it's a beautiful day in your heart. We're going to have fun. We're streaming to multiple platforms.
So we're multi-streaming today. It's our first time multi-streaming with this particular tool, which is StreamYard. And I know that a few of you guys in our Facebook group are using StreamYard as we do. So like as we make mistakes with it, you fix it and do it for yourself. So that's super cool. We love that you do that. But I just want to say that, so we have a premium StreamYard account. We learned this morning that we can connect 3 platforms on our premium account. And I think, and you can do more than that, but I think you have to go premium or something.
Pro something or other.
Yeah, pro something or other. So I see that we have got 4 people watching with us today, although my phone says 2 and my monitor says 4, so I don't know what that's about. Maybe 2 of you have multiple personalities or something like that, so that could be it. So say hi, let us know what's going on with you. As always, we would love for you to share some good news with us this morning, just things that you've got going on in your life that are positive.
And of course, you can tell us about your coffee adventure today.
Yes, so I did go to Starbucks today. I had been doing pretty well going to McDonald's and only paying $1 for my coffee for the last couple of days. I think Lee's looking for his coffee and he doesn't know what he did with it. I think it's over there behind that monitor.
It is.
So Lee has found his coffee. So
made right here at Green Cow.
In the beautiful mug.
Beautiful.
It was a gift from one of
Carla
our members,
yeah.
Carla Cluck, who also gave me a beautiful mug this Christmas, which I use often at home. So we appreciate that. But yeah, so say hello. Let us know that you're here. There's anywhere between 1 to 3 people watching. I don't understand that. I usually don't have this kind of discrepancy. Yours says 2. Mine says 1. The monitor says 3. So the only possibility is that some of you must have multiple personalities. So all of your personalities are welcome to say good morning. Just let us know which one we're dealing with today. The topic for today is dealing with difficult people. So if one of your personalities is particularly difficult, let us know. Excuse me. What was that face for? I am not a difficult person. That title belongs to you. No, that's actually quite true. Sometimes when we think we're dealing with difficult people, we have to step back and say, are we the difficult ones?
I don't always drink coffee, but when I do, I make it myself.
Nice. So we turn you into a meme now? Great. Well, I don't always drink coffee, but when I do, I don't make it myself. I don't know. I really am going to try to do more of that. I actually bought myself some syrups, so we're going to see how it goes because I like syrups in my coffee. I am one of those. Not the way Elf likes syrup in his coffee. Not that kind of syrup.
It's one of the major food groups, right?
Yeah. All right, Carla is watching. Good morning, Carla.
Carla.
Carla had some adventures to Promise You Art House yesterday, I think it was. She shared some pictures of some of the, I don't know, is there a show at Promise You right now, or is there just some different pieces that are currently there? I don't know if there's a show installed right now or not. So let us know. Mark is here this morning. Good morning, Mark. We're glad to hear. They're glad to see you.
Morning, Mark.
See you typing this morning. Remember, guys,
I don't see any of this on my phone.
Sometimes it lets you see it and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't know. But make sure that you share a piece of good news with us this morning and let us know some things that you've got going on. We always want to hear that. So there's got to be some good news that you have. My week has been not, I don't know the right word. Oh, there's been a lot. There's been a lot of things that I've had
Lot
to
of
figure
things?
out. Yes,
Mm.
a lot of things. But there's something positive, I think, in every single day or week or whatever. So find it, share it with us. Matt is here. Mark, you did miss quite a few jokes about working with difficult people. We are going to get into some more of that in just a minute. Hi, Matt. Good morning. No, Matt and Mark are both here, and this is a show about working with difficult people. So I'm just going to let you guys take it away. We'll sit back and watch. So good morning.
If anybody wants to join us live, just send a message to Miranda.
Me, yes, join us live, join in the conversation. And yeah, so the topic that we do want to talk about today is how to stay positive when working with difficult people.
Yeah, something we experience every day.
Every single day here, yeah. So we're both experts in this. I'd say at this point, we're both like PhD level. I think one of the things is that this is something that everybody has some experience with. So if you've got some tips, thoughts, and ideas that are productive, not like, oh, you could just grumble about them all day or get a voodoo doll.
Oh, I haven't heard about voodoo dolls for a long
if
time.
anybody has some recommendations.
And Carol's here.
Carol's here. So good morning, Carol. But if you have... Yes.
Did we get all the details on Carol's art show?
Yes. She posted them in the last video,
Okay.
but Carol, feel free to post it again if you'd like. We have different people every day, so yeah. Carla did say that there's not a show at Promise You, but there is a wall
Brandon's here.
devoted to Gladys Cook's mosaics. So yes, Brandon says that some clients can be very difficult to work with. So yeah, this is sort of one of those things that, like, no matter what setting you're in, whether you're working in an office, you're working from home, you're a freelancer, you have a business, you're going to end up having to work with some people that you would consider to be difficult. And I want to take a minute here and kind of distinguish between, sometimes there are people that you just clash with. And so maybe actually as people, like, you think that they're fun to be around and they're nice people and they're generally, you don't have any kind of issue with their attitude or anything like that, but they're just difficult for you to work with because you think differently. Or maybe you have a different way of seeing the world. There's the big differences there. And sometimes that can be really good, actually, because people who see things differently can help you to broaden your perspective.
Absolutely.
It's one of the reasons why there's such a push for diversity in the corporate world right now.
So my suggestion is embrace it at first. Try to understand why this person is so difficult. And I agree with Mark. Difficult people require clear boundaries and even clearer instructions.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times it's just a lack of communication because you're not listening to each other or you're not understanding each other. And he says any ambiguity in directions will always go against you when working with difficult people.
Or working with any people, really. There's very few people. Sometimes I was very blessed and lucky to have an assistant for several years who just knew what I was thinking. Like, she knew what I liked in terms of like design stuff, what I didn't like my way of talking to people. She just knew me. And so I could basically just tell her here's a jumble of ideas, and she would go and turn them into a thing. and she was fantastic. And so
that's a nice person to have.
If you can find that person, that's awesome. But I'll tell you, most of the time, at least at first, you're not going to have that. And so sometimes when you might be thinking, wow, this person is such a difficult person to work with, especially if you're the one that's supposed to be like leading and guiding and managing them, it might be you and your inability to give good directions, which has been something for me. A lot of the times I have found that, like, I look back at my directions and I'm thinking, wow, that really wasn't as clear as I thought it was. And there's an exercise I've seen before. Have you guys ever seen this where you write a shopping list and then you give it to someone else and you try to see if they can actually get the things you want? So on your shopping list, you might put things like cheese and bread and, crackers. And so that means sliced cheddar cheese and, wheat bread and saltine crackers. And somebody else is going to go out there and get like shredded mozzarella cheese and white bread and club crackers. Triscuits. Right? Exactly. Your chicken and a biscuit. You remember those?
No. Is that a thing?
Yeah. Their crackers are supposed to taste like chicken. It's weird. But they don't. They have a weird flavor. When I was a little kid, I was like obsessed with those. Yep. Oh no. Mark is starting our daily song lyric challenge with a Michael Jackson tune this morning. So thank you for that. But yeah, I think so if anybody has other ideas and thoughts, please feel free to throw those in the chat.
Brandon mentioned that having a process helps. And that's true with almost everything you do in business. Having processes and procedures and things like that are very clear are good for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And especially again, if you're supposed to be managing someone, if you're leading someone and it's like the first time you've worked on something like your project that you're working on, and be clear about that with them and say, look, this is the first time that we've done this. So, I just want you to know it might be a little clunky at first. So they kind of understand that you're trying to figure these things out together. That's helpful to be transparent in that way also. But I do think it's so many times directions are huge. So let's take this another direction and just say, when it's just someone that you have to work around or with, and you're not like in a direct like leadership type position with them, like either they're just somebody that you work with or they're somebody at another company that you have to deal with often, and they're just difficult to work with. And so if you have thoughts or ideas on that, we'd love to hear them. Again,
I always see that as a challenge.
You don't see it as a challenge?
I do see it as a challenge.
Yeah. Because in that case, there's only so much that you can do, right? Like, it's not like you can, when you are guiding them or leading them, you have some control, right, over the situation. Especially when it's somebody in another company or someone that you're just working alongside, it can be really challenging.
Somebody said hi.
That was Stacy. Stacy said hi. Hi, Stacy. So one of the things that I am try refreshing it is, you're on the page. That's why you're not in the group. That's why. Remember, we're multicasting today. It's the first time we're doing this. So if you guys have a second, you can go on the Facebook page and let us know that you're watching on the page. And we're actually streaming to YouTube as well. So we're going to see how that works. But if you're on one of those other platforms, leave some comments there and we'll see how it goes. So so I would say in these situations where it's somebody that you're working with it's someone that you're working with in a different company or in the same company where you're not like in the direct leadership position over them, so you don't have as much control. Again, I like to break it down into what's the root of the problem. So again, is it somebody that you just clash with because of personalities or the way you do things? Like you don't like the way that they do things, or you feel like there's a specific issue, like they take too long or something like that. Is it a person that they just have a negative attitude all the time in all situations? That I think is one of the hardest ones because it's like the person just seems to. But
it's usually a result of something bad that happened to them. And,
True.
And so
True.
There really is a good reason. And finding out what the reason is might be a good way to kind of make that better.
And sometimes you can do that, and sometimes you can't. And if you can't, At least what you can do, if you understand why you feel like this is a difficult person, you can at least prepare yourself to deal with this person differently. So in case number one, and you see we have a lot of comments coming in here, so I'm gonna read them in just a second. But in case number one, when it's a person that you just clash with, like they do things 100% differently than you do. If you're gonna take route A to get to location one, they're gonna take route B. And it's just you clash with them. Thinking about the way, like kind of how their brain works, or how they're probably gonna interpret, what you say to them. Taking a little bit extra time to think through that interaction before you do that interaction can be really helpful. When it's a person that's just super negative all the time, I think a lot of times that you have to just prepare yourself so that you don't walk away from that interaction feeling negatively. All right, so Matt says...
we have a book suggestion. It's
do we?
360 Degree Leadership by John Maxwell. That came in from Mark. So
okay.
There is a book suggestion in here. And it appears as though the people who are on the call today have a pretty healthy view of this challenge. And of course, Mark did mention that he doesn't mind. I think it was Matt. He doesn't mind working with difficult people so much. He enjoys the confrontation. Well, he's a lawyer.
But I will say, Matt, there's kind of a point to that, because again, when we talk about difficult people, I want to suggest that there's really no difficult people.
Oh.
I really think, in some environments, people are difficult, but not in all. And it's a combination of factors, I think, like environment and your personality and their personality, and how they're feeling.
How they feel today.
Yeah, exactly. I would say I really don't think there are any difficult people. I don't think there are people who are inherently difficult.
I think there are people who choose to be difficult as
in a certain situation, but I don't think it's every single situation.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't think. Very few people out there. There are people that. I have a kid like this. I have a kid that does kind of start drama, but she's in middle school, so like all children in middle school start drama. But there are people out there that start drama, but again, I don't think it's in every situation. And there's a reason for it. And so I would say that I don't think there's any bad people. I don't think there's any difficult people. I think it's a combination of factors. But I would say because of that, the confrontation thing, going back to that, Matt, that can be good for you, I think. Like, it can stretch you. That. And and really thinking about, is this person a difficult person in this situation, or am I being the difficult person? Because sometimes
what a concept.
You are being the difficult person. So, or am I just not taking the time to really think about how to better interact with this person? So, yeah.
Or am I just enjoying the game?
Yes. Well, that might be Matt there. So I'm like calling you out there just a little bit, Matt. We love you. We think you're fantastic. We also think you may just be enjoying being confrontational. That's okay. All right. So we had...
You got to be pretty smart in order to get away with that, which is cool. Matt's a smart guy.
Matt is a very smart guy.
Just use it for good.
Use your powers for good and not for evil. Stacy says that healthy boundaries is wonderful for all parties. Yeah. So that's another thing. That's something that I have some personal experience with in many areas of my life, is not setting the right boundaries. And then the difficult situation gets more difficult. And if that is a challenge for you, I think the initial setting of boundaries, Mark just said Matt gets paid to be confrontational. I too was a debater. But I think the initial setting of boundaries can be very challenging if you're a person that has difficulty with that. But once you do it, it really can help to solve.
Can you give us an example or a situation here?
So you think the other person is extremely annoying because they always text you their questions and instead of calling you. and they text you all the time, and they're constantly sending problems that require like long explanation through text, but they're not available to answer the phone. Okay, so you start just feeling like really annoyed by these people, but you never communicated to them that you don't want those kinds of questions being sent to you via text, and you never communicated to them what time you expect them to be available to answer the phone, or ask them what time they're available to answer the phone.
No boundaries, no
Exactly.
guidelines here.
So that's a problem, because you're thinking this person's being a very, very difficult person, when in reality, they might have 3 kids running around and they can't really talk on the phone right then. But you've never had that conversation. So setting a boundary and saying, look, I'm really happy that you like to stay in communication, and I'm happy to text about certain things, but when there's a question, I prefer that we do that over the phone, via voice call. And here's some times when I'm available to do that. What times overlap with your schedule? And that way, you're setting a boundary and you're communicating with them. And so in that case, I would say it'd be very easy to see that person as a difficult person, but that person's not really being a difficult person at all. You just have 2 completely different ways of dealing with situations. And I think things like that happen a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
But we just don't talk about it. And so,
But we are talking about it.
Yeah, we don't, but you and that person didn't talk about it. So in that case, if you were the manager or the boss, or you're the person requesting the work, in that case, I would say that that's more your deal than theirs. Because you never communicated to them the best way to work together. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's all absolutely correct. We don't always think about these things, and that's part of it. Listening, thinking about things as they really are, thinking about how we're acting ourselves, things that we don't always scrutinize, because most of us think we're usually right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And you gotta, if you want to work well with people, you have to get over that a little bit. But
Mark asked a question of Stacy. Now, Stacy does work with horses and people. Horses
are probably easier.
Horses are probably easier. So Mark asked if there's similarities between horses and difficult people. I think there was a joke in there, and I'm not going to go there.
I think I might have known what that joke was, but I'm not going to go there either.
So anyway, she does consulting work, or what is?
Stacy, tell us more about what you do. Horse equine assisted therapy.
Therapy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the word I was looking for, and I couldn't find.
Yeah.
Yeah, really interesting stuff. You want to check out what Stacy is doing.
And she said there can be similarities between horses and people, and they can be helpful in learning to set and maintain healthy boundaries. So, yeah, and that's true. If that's a struggle for you, like it is a struggle for me, maybe just getting some help and learning how to do that. You can do that. So that's something that I've had to learn, and I'm learning, and I'm always happy to get advice and assistance from people like Stacy, who know a lot more about that kind of stuff, because that's her area of expertise. Another thing that I want to say is go back to a comment of Brandon's. He says that he's in the process of hiring, and Amanda, his wife, and he know what certain types that work with him well as a staffer. And I want to kind of talk about that from 2 angles. So first of all, Brandon's angle is he's doing the hiring and knowing the kind of personalities that work well with you. And, sometimes there's even assessments and things that you can take for this, which is why sometimes when you go in to apply for a job, you will be asked to take a personality assessment. But sometimes those are spot on, and sometimes they're not. People like me tend to overthink all the questions on those things, so they don't get super accurate results. But that is important, just knowing, if you are doing hiring, knowing if that person's style of working and, just being, if that works with you. as a career coach, a lot of times I help people on the other side of that who are interviewing to what questions they can ask to actually interview the people that are interviewing them to see if that's a good fit, to see if the culture of the company is a good fit. There's been a lot of work done lately, like surveys and journal articles that have been published saying that a lot of employers are more concerned about whether you're good as a job candidate, whether you're a good cultural fit, than necessarily having every single skill in the job description.
Absolutely. You can be trained to learn a skill,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to be the person who would succeed in that company.
In that particular culture, in that particular environment, working with the type of people they work with.
I want to comment quickly on Brandon's post here.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon's been married almost 15 years, and he found, usually I'm wrong more than right, but don't tell Amanda. I have a challenge for you, Brandon. Make it a point to tell Amanda when you're wrong. Just because. And she probably isn't the kind of person who needs to be right, and that's okay. But it lets her know that you trust her and you care. And so it's a good thing for us to do. And you probably do it already. You're just being humble. But yeah, if somebody helps you in that way by clearly being right in a situation, let them know that you appreciate their rightness in that particular situation. It's a kind thing to do. And again, it does depend on the personality of the person that you're working with, but you guys have been married for 15 years, so you know each other pretty well. That's a good thing.
So I just want to say I've been alive for 35 years and I'm mostly wrong.
We won't go into my situation.
I did want to say that, I want to say hi to Angela. Angela is here watching. Somebody gave us a thumbs up. If everybody could do that, that'd be awesome. So thumbs up or heart, and just hit the little button and it'll be great. I want to see some of those hearts like going up there. Come on, let's go. It's not that hard. Click a heart. Click a heart. I'm going to wait. I'm going to do the t-shirt thing. I'm going to wait.
There's something. There's a...
Oh, there we go. There's a like and a heart from Mark, Stacy, and Angela. Now we feel the love.
Oh, that's fun. I can actually see it on my phone. Wow.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you. All right. So there's some additional comments that have come in. I'm trying to scroll down. Mark said, hire for attitude, train for skill. Don't train people to be friendly, hire friendly people. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I kind of want to go back to this just a little bit because as a career coach, I'm helping people that, when they come in for the job interview, I say that this interview is two-sided. Like, you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. You don't want a job where you're not a good fit because it's not going to last. And if it does for any period of time, you're going to be unhappy there. Remember, we talked, what was that, Wednesday or maybe it was Monday, about... well,
let's see. Today's Friday. Yesterday was Thursday.
I don't know. We talked one of these days about how if you're not happy with your career or your business, if you're just not happy, then break it down into why. Is it the stuff, the environment, the people?
Yeah, that was a good conversation. I think that was on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So you can set yourself up for success in some of these areas by actually keeping those things in mind when you go into a job interview or when you're hiring people. Both sides of the coin there, or when you're deciding, what type of environment you want to be in, you can make those decisions. I think a little bit more as business owners, we're kind of used to making decisions. Maybe sometimes, maybe it's, I don't know what it is, but some people tend to just think, things happen to me as they happen to me, and I don't have any control over my life. And that's not a good attitude to have. Yeah. So you could go into these situations no matter what side of the table you're on, and say, I'm going to control this. I'm going to make a good decision about the environment, the people, the culture, all that kind of stuff. So,
even if I can't control it, at least I'll have a positive effect on the situation.
Yeah. Absolutely. Or you can decide not to take a job or not to hire somebody that's not a good fit, so
Absolutely.
That's true. There's so many things that we can train people to do.
And it might not be a good fit now, but a month from now or a year from now, it might be a good fit. It's hard to say.
So always keep those options open too, and keep those keep the opportunities open. That's why I always say to my clients, I don't like to say never. You kind of taught me that. But I like to say there's rare situations in which you want to turn down a job interview. You almost always want to go on the job interview.
Just even for the practice?
Well, there's some of that. Even if you don't think you're interested in the position, and there's 3 reasons. One, the worst thing that's going to happen to you is you're going to get some practice. Same thing with you guys, like hiring people. You don't need to interview every single person that applies, but interview a few more people than, you think that you're going to end up hiring. You might see a couple of resumes come in and you're like, oh, wow, this person looks amazing, but interview a few more people. Because, like I said, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get practice. Second best thing is you form some new connections, and that's awesome. Maybe they're not a great fit for this position. Maybe, if you're the one who's interviewing, you don't absolutely love this position, but you've made a new connection now, and could be helpful to you in the future. And I say, a lot of times the job description doesn't always 100% reflect what you're going to be doing. And sometimes a resume doesn't always 100% reflect what a person can do. So I always say, take a risk and just go see what's out there, because it could be different. So yeah, don't leave those opportunities open, but don't get yourself in a situation where you think, a year down the road, 6 months down the road, you're going to be unhappy with the person you hired or with the job you picked. So yeah. So I finally figured out what's going on here. It tells us we have 8 people watching, and on our phones it says 7. And these numbers have been changing, like there's always like 1 or 2 off. That's because somebody else is watching on one of our different platforms, since we're multi-streaming. So if you are watching on the Facebook page or on YouTube, leave us a comment to let us know that you're here. If you're watching on the replay, give us a hashtag replay so that we can know that you were there. That'd be super awesome.
And speaking of replays, we're about at the end of the live.
We are about at the end of the live.
Brandon had a comment. When it comes to hiring, the best piece of advice I was given is to do an audition before you hire.
Okay. So you're talking about like actually having them come in and do a project or something like that. I think is what he means. And I am for that in a lot of cases. There are some cases where that doesn't always work, but I would just say if you're going to do that as an employer, pay them for the audition.
Absolutely.
As a career coach, I often tell my clients that you can offer to do consulting work before taking a full-time job. There are some businesses where that will work. There are some businesses where it will not. Yeah. Especially if it's a larger organization, there's a lot of rules they have in place about that, and you need 40 people's approval, and it might just not happen for you. But it doesn't hurt to ask. I've worked with a lot of clients, especially those who are making big transitions, where they're fully capable of doing the work, and they feel like they're a really good fit for this organization, and so does the department that they're going to be working for. But because they don't have 100% of the qualifications, it's a little bit harder to get it past the higher-ups. And in those cases, I have successfully had clients offer to do consulting work for 3 months, get paid for the consulting work for 3 months, and it ended up being a great fit, and they got the job.
Cool.
Worked out well for everybody. But that is an option that a lot of people don't think about on both sides. So, if you can make it work, make it work.
Very good. Okay. Right. Well, thank you everybody for joining. This was a great discussion today. I really appreciate all of you. And there's some things to learn for all of us, which is really great. So again, thank you all for all of that. Thank you for the hearts and the thumbs up and all that. And if you know somebody who would benefit from these Monday, Wednesday, and Friday broadcasts, let them know. Share this or something.
Yes.
I'm not
so
sure
if you go to the Green Cow page, you cannot share this from the group. If you hit share in the group, it's just going to go right back in the group. So don't do that. Okay. But if you go to the Green Cow page, you can share this from your business page, from your personal page, however you want to share it. I would really encourage you guys to do that if it fits into what you do. If this conversation would be helpful to other people, we're perfectly fine if you want to include like a little blurb about you and why this matters to you, and make it part of your personal branding strategy. Like, totally go for it. But we would love it if you would share us, but you have to do that from the Green Cow page or from YouTube, because this should have been going live on YouTube, but we're going to go check that as soon as we're done here.
Okay, great. Okay, well, thanks again. It's a beautiful day in Chicagoland. It's sunny.
It is sunny.
Sky is blue.
My walk is almost completely melted. The ice on the walk is almost completely melted. So I'm excited.
So do something really nice for somebody today, however you can do that, whether it's virtually or in person, however that works.
Bring them some Starbucks.
And if you can help out a lot of people, fantastic. Some of us have the resources to do that. So okay.
He rolls his eyes at me. I think like he might end up with some kind of condition because of the amount of times he rolls his eyes at me. All right, guys. Thanks for joining in. I think this is a great chat. Very helpful to a lot of people. And no, Duncan, I'm kidding. He's different every single. I have this conversation once a day. I think I'm just gonna get a T-shirt with it printed on there. All right.
Okay. Thanks again,
Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
See you Monday. Bye.
Bye-bye.